Sister Jean Dolores-Schmidt, the beloved and longtime chaplain of the Loyola-Chicago men's basketball team, who became a national treasure and an enduring symbol of faith, optimism, and perseverance, has passed away at the remarkable age of 106. Her death marks the end of an era for Loyola University and for college basketball, where her unwavering faith, infectious joy, and grandmotherly presence transcended sports and inspired millions around the world. To those who knew her, Sister Jean was far more than just a chaplain or a loyal fan. She was a guiding light, a source of compassion, and a living example of what it means to serve with love, humility, and humor. In many roles at Loyola over the course of more than 60 years, Sister Jean was an invaluable source of wisdom and grace for generations of students, faculty, and staff. Loyola President Mark C. Reed said in a heartfelt statement, "While we feel grief and a sense of loss, there is great joy in her legacy. Her presence was a profound blessing for our entire community, and her spirit abides in thousands of lives. In her honor, we can aspire to share with others the love and compassion Sister Jean shared with us." That statement captures only a fraction of the magnitude of her influence. For over a century, Sister Jean's life intersected with history, faith, education, and sports in ways few could have imagined. Born Dolores Bertha Schmidt on August 21, 1919 in San Francisco, she came into the world just after World War I ended, during a time when the world was still learning to heal. In 1937, at the age of 18, she entered the Sisters of Charity of the Blessed Virgin Mary and took the name Sister Jean Dolores. It was the beginning of a lifelong journey defined by service, education, and faith in the goodness of people. Long before she became a national celebrity, she was a teacher, mentor, and administrator who believed in the power of education to transform lives. She taught elementary school in California and later worked as a teacher and principal in Los Angeles and Chicago before joining Loyola University Chicago in 1991. Even before she became synonymous with basketball, she was known for walking across campus with her signature smile, always ready to offer a kind word, a prayer, or a gentle reminder that no dream was too big when rooted in purpose. When she joined Loyola's staff, she brought with her decades of experience and an unshakable faith that God had more work for her to do. 3 years later, she became part of the men's basketball team, initially serving as an academic advisor before transitioning into her role as team chaplain, a position that would define her later life and, ultimately, her legacy. As chaplain, she attended practices, met with players, sent them emails filled with motivation and scripture, and prayed with them before every game. Her messages were always positive but never unrealistic. She encouraged discipline, humility, and teamwork, reminding players that basketball, much like life, was about perseverance, selflessness, and grace in both victory and defeat. She prayed for her team's success, but she also prayed for their opponents, something that reflected her deep understanding that competition need not come at the expense of compassion. Her presence became the team's good luck charm, their spiritual compass, and a living embodiment of faith in motion. But it wasn't until 2018 that the world came to know Sister Jean. That year, Loyola-Chicago, an 11 seed in the NCAA tournament, embarked on one of the most unforgettable Cinderella runs in college basketball history, making it all the way to the Final Four. The Ramblers' improbable streak captured hearts everywhere, but it was Sister Jean's radiant joy and boundless enthusiasm that turned the story into a phenomenon. At 98 years old, she became a national celebrity almost overnight. Cameras followed her every move, from pregame prayers to postgame celebrations. She gave pep talks that blended scripture with sharp basketball analysis, and her humor won over even the most casual fans. Reporters from around the world clamored to interview her, and she handled the attention with the same humility that defined her life. "I'm glad people are paying attention to Loyola," she said at the time, "but I hope they remember that this is about the team, not me." Yet, it was impossible not to fall in love with Sister Jean. Her warm smile, her Loyola scarf, her maroon and gold sneakers, and her twinkling eyes turned her into a pop culture sensation. Bobbleheads and t-shirts with her face on them sold out almost instantly. ESPN, CNN, and every major news outlet covered her story. There were even press conferences held specifically for her before games, a rare honor for anyone, let alone a 98-year-old nun. During Loyola's semifinal loss to Michigan at the Alamodome in San Antonio, fans held up signs that read, "Win one for the nun," and "Obey Jean's plan." Her influence went far beyond basketball. Sister Jean represented something the world seemed to be craving: authenticity, kindness, and hope. At a time when cynicism often dominated public life, she reminded everyone that faith and joy could still bring people together. She didn't just bless players before games. She blessed everyone she met, whether they were fans, students, or strangers who stopped her to say hello. Her fame didn't fade after the tournament ended. She continued to be Loyola's biggest supporter, often attending games in her wheelchair, her Loyola blanket draped over her lap, cheering on the team with the same passion as ever. Even as her health began to decline, she insisted on staying connected, emailing players with encouragement and continuing her prayers for their success. "She's an incredible person," Loyola-Chicago guard Clayton Custer said at the time, and those words echoed through generations of players who had the privilege of knowing her. When she turned 100, Loyola-Chicago established a scholarship fund and endowment in her honor to support students in need. It was a fitting tribute to a woman who had spent her entire life helping young people chase their dreams. On that same occasion, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker declared August 21, 2019, Sister Jean Day, across the state, calling her a living example of faith in action. The proclamation celebrated not just her longevity, but her ability to uplift communities, bridge divides, and remind people of the simple but powerful truth that goodness never goes out of style. Even in her later years, Sister Jean continued to find new ways to inspire. When she turned 103, Loyola renamed the Chicago train station plaza on its campus in her honor. A massive sign was installed that read, "Home of the world-famous Sister Jean," welcoming students and visitors to a campus forever touched by her spirit. A year later, on her 104th birthday, she gave interviews in which she shared her daily routine, early morning prayers, light exercise, emails to students and athletes, and a steady stream of gratitude. "Every day is a gift," she said, "and if you start your morning with that thought, it changes how you live." When she turned 105, her birthday was recognized by President Joe Biden, who sent her a personal message along with flowers. "You have shown us all that yours is a life well lived," Biden wrote. That recognition, from the nation's highest office, felt entirely fitting for a woman who had spent more than a century embodying the very values the world most needed: faith, kindness, and purpose. Even as age slowed her body, her mind and spirit remained sharp. In interviews, she often joked about her popularity, saying, "I can't believe people still remember me. But if they do, I hope they remember that I tried to live like Jesus wanted me to." Her humor was as quick as her faith was deep. She spoke about basketball and theology with equal ease, bridging two worlds that rarely overlap. She saw no contradiction between sports and spirituality. In her eyes, both were about teamwork, discipline, and love. Her prayers before games became legendary. She often prayed not just for Loyola's victory, but for fairness, safety, and sportsmanship. She believed in competition as a way to bring out the best in people, not to create enemies. After losses, she consoled players by reminding them that it just wasn't meant to be, teaching them resilience in the face of disappointment. Her words carried a weight that came from experience. After all, she had seen over a century of human triumphs and tragedies, from world wars to pandemics to the rise of social media, yet her optimism never wavered.